What's good, fellow outcasts and other rejects? It's Karmpit here. Welcome to We the Celestials, the Anime Outcasts. First things first, if you are new here, we upload anime what-ifs. Secondly, we hope you enjoy our content. If you do, make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell. Now, let's get into the video. We pick up with Bakugo's grenade brace unleashing a powerful explosion, turning the corridor he, Deku, and Uraraka were in to nothing more than ash and debris. However, because of Uraraka's quirk, he's sent blasting out of the corridor from the force caused by the explosion. Deku, a little too excited by his planned success, rushes to check on his friend, seeing Bakugo in a smoking crater in the adjacent building. He then hears a low hobbling from behind him, being Uraraka dragging herself over to Izuku, barely holding her lunch inside. Okay, I'm gonna go beat the crap out of Ida, and you stay here and do whatever you need to do, Deku mutters loudly, a little too quickly for his partner to understand, while giving her 2 thumbs up. Then, as Uraraka fails to hold it any longer, he leaps out of the hole and swings to the other side of the buildings, and starts to scale it, looking for the bomb room. Speaking of the bomb room, a panicked Ida calls out desperately on the comms line for Bakugo, demanding to know what that loud bang was. But the line was dead silent, with only a bit of static now and again. He repeatedly tries to reach his begrudging teammate until Deku comes smashing into the room from many windows. Almost instantly, the two clash with a strong kick from both sides. But Ida wins the struggle due to his legs burning engines. Forced back, Izuku clings onto the wall while surveying the room, seeing its very minimal interior. Ida tries to intimidate him by acting like a cliché, dastardly villain, but is ignored by Izuku as he starts formulating a plan. He knew that Ida's thrusters made him significantly faster than he was, meaning he couldn't go straight for the bomb. Then, with a stroke of genius, Deku fires 2 web lines to the pretend villain's side. At first, Ida tries to dodge the 2 whips, but quickly notices that they were way off from hitting him. Then, with a grin forming under his helmet, he rushes at Izuku, as he appears wide open for an attack, unaware, so is he. So while pushing off the wall, Deku starts pulling on the web lines with everything he's got. Ida goes blasting towards him, but like it was almost on cue, one of the many pillars in the room breaks off its beams and slams into Ida's back. This stuns him, as he also slams into the wall, giving Deku the perfect chance to jump to the bomb, winning his team's match. As you can see, the exercise concluded with a better outcome than standard canon, but Izuku is berated by both All Might and Yaozu for his reckless behavior. Now, we skip a few days later when Class 1A is on a bus to an off-campus facility. The seating arrangements would be the same, but the atmosphere would be a lot more comedic, as Deku would be trying to come up with nicknames for everyone. But among his banter with his classmates, Kirishima cuts over one of them and asks if he trained with Bakugo or something. Shocked and a little confused by the question, Izuku inquires what he meant by that. Before he can get an explanation, Bakugo sharply cuts across Kirishima by saying he would never train with a late bloomer as Deku, who gained his quirk when he was 6, minutes after a school trip to a now-debunked lab. Then, before any more could be said, they reached an incredibly massive USJ. The class is greeted by the Hero 13, like in canon. They rush into the facility while being given a speech on rescuing by the hero. Though things were going slow, things started ramping up as Deku steps foot inside. A massive pain rushes through his head as his spider sense starts going rampant. And with all the lights around the facility seemingly imploding, a black mist arises in the center plaza, various hordes of villains spilling out like gushing water streams. Within seconds of arrival, Eraserhead jumps headfirst into the fray, yelling for 13 to get their students out of here. Deku at first stares in awe as his teacher, before Ida snaps him out of his trance and tells him to get a move on. When the students get ever so close to the door, the mist from the central plaza appears, blocking their path. Do pardon our lack of manners for just barging in here unannounced, but I need to know if you have seen the symbol of peace in his acolyte recently. The smog loudly beckons while staring down at the students with his yellow wisp-like eyes. With panic properly setting in, Deku starts pulling back his sleeve, getting ready to completely contain the villain within his black whips. But before he gets his chance, both Bakugo and Kirishima lunge at the villain. But that only aggravates the creature as their attacks appear useless against it, causing it to immerse the students in its dense fog, seeming to make him disappear. But as we all know, Deku is transported to the shipwreck zone, where he's narrowly rescued by Asui from a water-based villain. She brings them to board the mock ship, letting them survey the army of villains. I wonder what the chances are for them teleporting the spider and the frog-based heroes to a water zone, Izuku jokes before getting a slap from Asui's tongue, as she tells him to take this seriously. But then it hits her. What Izuku was actually trying to get out. The two start discussing if they actually knew who the students were, coming to the conclusion that they didn't know by how they sent Asui here, then noticing how the villains were hesitantly watching them from afar. Then they start discussing each other's quirks nitty-gritty, seeing if they could actually form a good plan. A few ideas are thrown around, Suzuki just swinging them out of there, but that still leaves an army worth of villains to chase after them. But their prep time is cut painfully short by one of the villains cutting the boat in half with some sort of water blade. With no other option, Suzuki yells for Asui to get ready and to grab him and go on his signal before running off the edge of the boat. Then while in the air, violent black energy starts swirling around his arm as he points it towards the water. Copious strands of that energy shoot in the water, some latching onto villains while others pierce the pool's floor. Izuku then swipes outwards, sending the latched villains into the air, while also creating a tsunami-like wave that washed away the rest. "Sui, that was the signal!" he roars, as he struggles to retract his whips, barely doing so before Asui grabs him with her tongue and races out of there. The two land in shallow water just a bit away from the central plaza, giving Izuku a few seconds to check his black whip burns. While not as bad as the ones he got from the zero-pointer robot, they were still pretty grueling, but the two quickly keep walking, getting near the plaza at the perfect time to see their teacher get brutalized by some bird creature and a decaying villain. Instinctively, Deku pulls up his other sleeve and prepares to jump into the fight, however he's quickly stopped by Asui, saying he couldn't possibly take on the person someone like Eraser had failed to. Then, as Izuku looks away from Asui for a second, his spider sense goes ballistic as a villain speeds up to her with a seemingly inhuman speed. A horrifically vivid image of Asui disintegrating plays in Deku's head as he gets close, forcing him to jump back and unleash Black Whip completely in the hopes of capturing him. Then, with a blast of air, the bird creature jumps in a way of the tendrils like it was trying to protect its master, but not releasing that they could wrap around him. Still get to Shigaraki. "Nomu, you idiot. What did you expect from his successor?" Shigaraki snarls as he and the Nomu were enveloped by the black energy. Deku, unable to control Black Whip at this capacity, starts yelling from the pain as her whips start thrashing them around, slamming the villains against the ground and any nearby surroundings. Though with one simple flex, the Nomu breaks free from his restraint, sending a shockwave in its wake. Then Shigaraki starts ranting about how the Nomu is basically an anti-symbol of peace, giving Izuku a bit of time to think. One of his arms was burnt to cinders from the extensive use of Black Whip's full power, which is the first thing he noted. The second was Aizawa, seeing him seemingly knocked out while in a pool of his own blood. Lastly, was the power and speed of the Nomu. Izuku is finding it hard to determine precisely what his quirk is. His analysis is cut short, however, as All Might smashes his way into the USJ from the other side's exit, massive blasts of steam letting off him at random intervals. It's time we address the elephant in the room, All Might's fading power. As some of you may remember, he passed on One for All a lot earlier in this world, meaning his time was even shorter than in canon. All Might blitzes down the stairs, smiting any villain in his path, before getting Asui, Izuku, and Aizawa somewhere a tiny bit safer, knocking one of the hands off Shigaraki's crusty face. Deku tries to warn his mentor about the bird creature, saying it broke through his webs like it was nothing, but All Might just laughs it out. "When have I ever run away from a situation this dire? You shouldn't worry about me, Midoriya. Get Aizawa out of here." Deku tries to plead with All Might one last time before he's turned away and orders him to get Aizawa to safety. So with no other choice, Izuku makes a makeshift sling for his arm and gets ready to swing out of there with Asumi and Aizawa. As he starts swinging, he's almost shot off course by the clashing of the titans below. When they make it to the exit with his class, they are greeted by scared classmates and 13's Husk, appearing to be critically wounded. But something felt off to Izuku. Why would they be scared as All Might is going to save them, isn't he? Then he turns to look behind them. He sees their savior in some sort of trap laid by Kurogiri and the Nomu, with All Might's shirt turning a sickly red. Without a single thought, Izuku rips his arm out of the fake cask and goes swinging off. He swings into the domed roof and sticks onto it for a couple of seconds before shooting off it, shattering the layered glass. As he gets close to All Might, he uses both hands to wrap webs around one of the Nomu's fists. Using momentum from the rebound, Izuku manages to pull back the hand just enough for All Might to spin out of it. "I thought I told you to get Aizawa out of here!" All Might yells at Izuku as he checks his injury, but his student just seriously mutters back, "Yeah, you never said I couldn't come back and help." Thanks to Outcast and Rejects watching till the end of the video. If this video gets 20 likes, we'll continue this What If. But if we get 50 likes, we'll upload it this week. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video to get the next part early. And if you guys want to see any of my content, I stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Karmpit. And then I also upload videos to YouTube, and you can get that in the link below.